Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I've posted, but I've had a lot of crap going on, not the least of which was military duty. I'm still in the National Guard, so I have about a 2 or 3 week thing that I have to do in the summer, and it just so happened it fell in this. But I'm back, and I'm going back to work on a B-26. Remember me telling you guys about I had extra parts to put on it and things like that? Well, I'm doing a lot of prep work and pre-fitting and things like that right now. Like, there's nothing that goes inside the wings, so I'm going ahead and putting the wings together and filing the edges and getting the edges sanded down. Now, like this one had flashing all the way around the tip, and it was bad. So I'm going through with fine grit sandpaper and polishing out my sanding marks where I take it off to make it where when I paint the front edge de-icer boot, all these marks don't show up. As you can see right here where it had the stuff on it on both parts. But then you take this and you see some of the scratch marks disappear. You do it a little more than that to get rid of it all. This is like 1000 grit, but it eventually polishes it out, as you can see here and here. I've pre-painted a bunch, as you can see. That's all the interior sides, except for this is the wheel well, this is the cockpit. The yokes and everything mount right here on this spot right here, so that'll give you an idea what you're looking at for it. But I started looking at putting my engines together, gluing things like my wing together. My tail plane is already glued together. But as you can see, this one's going to be fun because of the way it's got so much dehedral to it. And it actually comes in here and forms the top part of the body. So that's a scene that's going to be fun to fight with. And I've already heard from several people it is a fight. So that's going to be one that I'm going to have to mess with. I'm doing the PE in the cockpit and some of the nose gun area because that's where you'll be able to see it. I'm not going to worry about PE in the backs. Research is always something I harp on with doing models. And go back to page 1. And this is a guy that did prints of the plane I'm doing. That's an actual print of her that he did. This is the story written about her. When she crashed. She had flown more than 90 missions. She was actually at 95. I've actually talked to the great nephew of the man who flew it. And that's who I'm building this for. And they had overloaded her. And when she took off, she couldn't make speed. She got up far enough to get the landing gear up, and then she stalled out and crashed. And she was carrying fragmentation bombs that day. So when she hit the ground, the bombs went off because they were already fused. And it killed everybody on the plane. It totally disintegrated the plane. Do a little pre-fit on my engines, just to show you and show me how they're going to fit. Now these engines, I don't know how well you can see it. I can't really zoom in on it, but right here in the front, it's got all the magneto holes for wires to go to every one of these magnetos. If you try and do that, which I am going to try and do it, I'm going to wait till after I paint the motor, and then I'm going to put copper wires in there, and I'll paint them separate to the motor. But I'm going to make it look as real as I can, because I've got the different pieces to go here. I'm going to have to drill the prop shaft out, like I was telling you about before, because the prop shaft won't fit through there. And then this is the magneto points and all that for running the engines. So I always tell you guys, pre-fit. I've told you double check everything. So that's literally what I'm doing now, is I'm going through and I'm pre-building and I'm checking fit and I'm making sure it's going to look right. And one of the things you've got to do on this model is see these squares right here on the interior. You notice there's nothing on the exterior for them. This plane had 4 blisters on it, 2 on this side and 2 on that side, where they had pilot-fired machine guns, because the Germans decided on a tactic to attack our aircraft head-on. Well, they started, these medium bombers that were more maneuverable, they started mounting machine guns on them, so the pilot could just pull up a little bit and blow the fighter apart. B-26 was different in the fact that it had 4 on the outside, and then it had 1 mounted about here on the inside, firing through the nose cone. Because if you look here, you can see this machine gun mounted at the bottom. That one was controlled by the pilot. This one is flexible, so the bombardier / navigator could aim it and shoot at enemy planes that were coming head on with the plane. Well, I gotta get back to building. I will keep you guys updated, and like this right here, these are the gun blisters, these 4 pieces right here. Well, those pins are what have to go in there. So you don't need to cut out that whole big square. I'm going to take a drill bit the size of those and drill through them. And that will be how I make sure they are in the correct spot and seated correctly. Because if it can only go in one way and only has one spot to go in, you're good. Like I was saying, test fit your engines, test fit the parts to fit. And they fit very well in there. Come up just flush, so the prop will be spinning outside of everything. Make it look really good. If at all possible, these props are going to spin. And if I do them like I did the one on my Corsair, my Focke-Wulf, and my Mustang, you barely breathe on them and they'll spin. The BF-109 that I did on my first videos is the same way. It spins really easily. But one of the things I do is when I put my prop shaft in to put my prop on, because my engines are one of the last things I put on. The one on the BF-109, it was a structural piece that you put into the nose, so I had to use it. So I had to put my prop shaft and everything together without being able to do what I wanted to do. But when I put my prop shaft and everything together, I put oil on it. Usually, as crazy as it's going to sound, I use olive oil because it doesn't deteriorate like regular oils. or if you use some kind of petroleum oil, it will actually dissolve the plastic and weld it together just as if you glued it. But that's the update for now. I'll go over some more stuff when I do another video, because tonight literally I'm fitting and making sure things go together right. You guys have a good night. Enjoy your modeling.